Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's go ahead and fix a few things here. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, test, test, test. Okay, let's go ahead and fix a few things here. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, test, test, test. All right, looks like everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and load up the program here. All right, looks like everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and load up the program here. Okay, and let's see. All right, so splash screen off. Okay, greetings, fellow Kerbonauts. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Rice here, and we are continuing our real solar system escapades here. And this is a continuation from the previous episode where we managed to get our first set of Kerbals into successful orbit around the moon, which was fortunately no small feat considering the vast distances between the Earth and the moon and this crazy inclination here. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to have our Kerbals, which are already docked to the moon station, and we're going to be adding a habitation component to the station as well as some additional life support. As you probably saw at our last installment here, let's go and pull this up here. Our life support is enough to last our Kerbals for about a year. We're going to go ahead and expand that a little bit, and we're going to give them a little bit more elbow room here, because right now the only habitation modules on this station are inside this capsule right here. So we're going to be attaching a habitation module right about here to expand the station a little bit. So let's go and head on to the Space Center. Okay, and we are back to the Space Center here. Now, hopefully, I built enough Delta V into this launch vehicle to get the to get this habitation module over to the moon. Roughly guesstimating here, because it takes about 4,000 Delta V, roughly about 3,800 Delta V, to get the spacecraft over to low moon orbit. Let's see here, station hab module. Okay, here we go. So we got the habitation module here. As you can see, fairly large SRBs we got going on here. These are roughly 3.75 meter parts on these SRBs, and then these larger components here are the 5 meter parts that come with the Space Y mod pack here. There is our habitation module right there. Let's go ahead and get this over to the launch pad. Okay, so we got our rocket at the launch pad here. Let's go ahead and throttle up, SAS on, caps lock on, so we switch over to fine-tune mode. And while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and target the moon. I imagine these little bodies here, these little asteroids and whatnot, I'm really interested to see if we can capture one of those at some point. This is going to take a whole lot of Delta V to do it as compared to stock Kerbal Space Program, but it's certainly worth an experiment if we decide to do it at some point. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and activate Kerbal Engineer. Let's go ahead and get our rendezvous telemetry data here. Right now, our relative inclination to the moon is at 41.76 degrees. We're going to go ahead and speed up time here, and we're going to go and decrease that. So let's go ahead and spin the Earth around. As you can see here, a major difference from the previous episodes is I removed the clouds from Earth. I know, Earth looks a little bit less beautiful this time around, a lot less eye candy, but you know, I know during the last episode we had a slight drop in the FPS frames per second, and I want to help this thing get a little bit smoother in terms of live streaming, especially when it comes to real solar system, because real solar system is really resource intensive and has a tendency to really lower the frame rates if you're not too careful on a few things. So we're doing this without the cloud cover on Earth this time around. All in all, though, still looks pretty beautiful. Okay, so we're at 30 degrees, and inclination is approaching 20 degrees. 15 degrees, we are almost there, almost to our launch window. And I'm going to slow up time just a little bit here. Okay, so we are at 2.5 degrees. We are at 1 degree inclination to the moon. I'm going to slow time a little bit here at about 0.3 degrees. That's when we'll go ahead and launch. 4, 3. Okay, good deal. SAS on. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And we are releasing clamps. And we are on the way to the moon, launching our first habitation module to the Deep Space Gateway moon station, currently in orbit around, surprise, the moon. Okay, surface speed is now at past 50 meters per second. We'll be tilting our rocket to 5 degrees towards the horizon, and then we're going to hold this one steady until we use up our SRBs on this one here. Nice and easy. Okay, we are looking beautiful. Alright. Here we go. Alright, so time to apoapse is approaching 30 seconds. Looks like we have a fairly healthy launch profile here. We're going to go ahead and tilt our rocket just a little bit more. We're going to see if we can get ourselves towards the 45 degree marker here. Okay, we are now past 10 kilometers on altitude. And we are approaching max Q. We're going to throttle down just a little bit here. Throttling down to 70% thrust. And we are now at 45 degrees. Alright, it's almost time for us to release our SRBs. Okay, looks like our relative inclination is keeping fairly healthy. And releasing SRBs now. SRBs are away. Okay, so our 45 degree inclination. 1 minute, 10 seconds to apoapsis. Everything's looking beautiful here. We have a nice textbook launch going on here. Switching to orbital telemetry. Apoapsis is now approaching 70 kilometers. Okay, inclination is staying below 0.3 degrees. That's always a good thing. We're going to tilt ourselves now to 30 degrees above the horizon. Perfect. Okay. And looks like we've exited most of the atmosphere here, so a lot of the exhaust from our engine is pretty much gone. And releasing radial boosters. Radial boosters are away. Alright, tilting ourselves to... We're going to go for 5 degrees above the horizon here. We're going to be a little bit more liberal with our gravity turn. Okay, here we go. And then we're going to turn our rocket to level to the horizon here. So, rotating rocket, and we are good to go. Beautiful. Alright, so we are past, our apoapsis is now past 100 kilometers. Okay, and real solar system, the atmosphere to space terminator is at 140 kilometers. So we should be approaching that in a little bit on our apoapsis here. Okay, we've escaped most of the atmosphere. However, time to apoapsis is starting to decrease, so we may have to lift our nose in a little bit here. Okay, lifting up our nose to 10 degrees. We don't want that time to apoapsis get away from us here. We really don't want to pass the peak of our orbit, suborbital trajectory here. Okay, still decreasing, but our speed is increasing pretty liberally. Okay, let's go ahead and increase, lift our nose a little bit. So nose lifting at 20 degrees. That way, okay, so there we go. Time to apoapsis is decreasing a lot less liberally here, so we should be keeping ourselves pretty healthy on this launch. As you can see here, our apoapsis is just slightly ahead of us. We really don't want to pass that peak line there. Okay. We're not looking so hot. We're about to reach our apoapsis. We're gonna increase our angle of attack, and we're gonna bring our nose to 30 degrees. There we go. Okay. This is gonna use up some fuel, unfortunately, and we may not have enough fuel left over to get this module over to the moon, but we will see in a little bit here. Oh, there we go. So our time to apoapsis is slowly but surely increasing. Relative inclination is past 0.3 degrees. Oh boy, we need to fix that. Let's turn our rocket to the south just slightly so we can decrease that relative inclination. And then we're going to drop our angle of attack down to 25 degrees. Okay. So our relative inclination is all over the place right now. Gosh, okay, we're at 0.4 degrees. Ooh, not so hot. 0.6 degrees. We want to try to get it down as close to zero as we can. Considering the nature of real solar system, it takes a lot of delta V to change our planar angle. So the closer we can get it to 0 degrees, the better. Okay, so we are turning our rocket. We're gonna drop ourselves down to 20 degrees. And we aren't quite to space yet. We got about 30 kilometers left in altitude left to go. Whew! Okay, there it is. Our relative inclination is below 0.3 degrees again. Thank goodness. Oh boy, this is kind of a funky little dance. This is the most harrowing part of launch for me in real solar system is always trying to keep this relative inclination at a nice steady rate. You know, making sure that we hit that right angle to the moon here is always kind of toughy to me, especially not just the moon. Rendezvousing with anything in orbit is And keeping the plane, the angle and relative inclination as steady as possible is always pretty interesting. Okay, so our apoapse has gone past 140 kilometers. So let's go ahead and drop our angle of attack down to 0 degrees. We're just about done with this stage here. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in a little bit. Okay, and decreasing throttle. Okay, speed is now at 7,100 meters per second. We're at 7.1 kilometers per second, and that's really good here. Want to be able to hit that magic mark at 7,800 meters per second, which is about the speed of a stable orbit at about 100 or 200 kilometers above the Earth. Okay, relative inclination is holding steady. You know, now that I think about it, probably would have been worth it to leave the clouds on Earth, because look at this empty ocean below us. You lose a good sense of scale when you can't see the clouds below, but oh well. Okay, so, gosh, our angle of attack is starting to lift naturally there. Let's keep it at 0 degrees. Ooh. Engines off. Woo, our apoapse is at 260 kilometers. A little bit too much for my taste there. We are now in space. Let's go ahead and, first off, we are going to release the aeroshell. Aeroshell is away. And we're going to coast to the apoapse. Okay, and we are now at the apoapse, so we are going to begin circularization burn here. In addition to dumping this stage here in just a little bit. Electricity is looking good. We've opened up our solar panels on the transfer stage of our rocket. Okay, we're going to drop our angle of attack down to 0, and then we're going to go and begin our circularization burn. Circularization burn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and begin. There we go. And MECO, main engine cutoff, and circularization burn is complete. Periapse is at 260 kilometers. Apoapse is at 279 kilometers. So we are now in stable orbit. Relative inclination to the moon is at 0.25 degrees. So let's go ahead and fix that inclination a little bit here. We're going to go and approach the descending node and turn our vehicle to normal in preparation for a plane change burn. Beautiful. Okay, so we are turning ever so slightly here. Now, another thing that this habitation module is going to bring is we're going to bring some actual proper solar panels for the Deep Space Gateway Moon Space Station. That way we can finally dislodge those temporary solar panels from the space station, which is a little bit of an eyesore, really, and doesn't provide a whole ton of power. Okay, so we are almost done on the turn, and then the descending node right now is over Africa. Okay, here we go. And let's go ahead and time warp. Hey, and turning us over. Okay, and beginning plane change burn in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Look at that relative inclination drop. And we're almost at... There we go. Perfect. Gosh, okay. Let's fix that. No RCS? Oh, we certainly have RCS. But RCS has a tendency to increase the part count quite dramatically in a spacecraft. As a KSP minimalist, I tend to steer away from that a little bit. Away from adding too many parts. So we just have minimal RCS on the main transfer module. Okay, so our relative inclination is now at 9/1000th of a degree with respect to the moon orbit. So we are looking beautiful here. And wouldn't you know, we still have some fuel left in our launch stage. Not a whole lot, but it'll save us some delta V here when we begin our transfer burn over to the moon. Okay, so we're going to switch our rocket over to prograde, turning us ever so slowly. And while that rocket is turning, we're going to go ahead and begin our transfer node here. So let's go ahead and prep this bad boy. Okay, there we go. And looks like we already have a... Ooh. Okay. Maneuver nodes tend to be a little bit more finicky in real solar system. Most of it is because of the larger scale, which makes the tiniest movements to maneuver nodes tend to be a little bit more finicky. Okay, there we go. We want to try to get ourselves into a prograde orbit. There we go. Okay, so that is 4,000 kilometers. Oh, let's back ourselves up just a little bit here. I probably should use the maneuver node edit mod at some point, which might be a good idea. There we go. Okay, so our periaps, 290 kilometers, pretty respectable. We'll go ahead and keep that. Let's go ahead and turn our rocket towards the maneuver node. Beautiful. Hopefully we have enough delta V for this transfer burn here. Definitely not enough on this main launch stage, but I think we definitely have enough for a transfer burn. Hopefully we have enough for a circularization burn, though. Well, howdy, Duck Swan. Welcome back to the live stream. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go ahead and, it's going to be a... It says here estimated burn is 1 minute, but that's with this main stage here. With we have a Poodle engine on the TLI stage, on this translunar injection burn. So this one here is going to take more than 1 minute. If I remember correctly, it'll probably take about 8 minutes entirely for the burn. So we'll probably begin burning at about the 4-minute mark. So let's go ahead and do just that. So there we go. Time warp. And then beginning burn in 3, 2, 1, burn. There we go. And launch stage is done. And staging launch stage in 3, 2, 1. It's away. And beginning TLI burn on Poodle engine in 3, 2, 1. Good deal. Beautiful. Okay, now our nose is pointed slightly below the horizon, which means our periaps is going to decrease for a little bit of the burn. But that is okay, because we have a whole lot of wiggle room here. We're I think this is the highest altitude we've ever found ourselves in before doing a TLI burn to the moon. 260 kilometers is really quite liberal for the type of altitude that we need, but that's okay. Hopefully that didn't waste too much of our delta V, though, before the transfer burn. Okay, then what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and speed up time. And then we are going to burn away. I'm really excited to finally get this habitation module over to the Deep Space Moon Space Station. That space station has been without a habitation module for quite some time. And I'm sure the Kerbals there would really appreciate having a little bit more wiggle room besides living it out inside that tiny little capsule. Alright, so it looks like we are almost halfway done with our burn. And relative inclination is holding steady, so we're looking pretty good here. Okay, then... Oh, we're already halfway through our fuel. Ooh, okay, we're gonna cut this real close here. We may not have the necessary delta V to get there, but we will know in just a little bit. Come on, you could do this. Okay, so 900, Delta V left to go. 700. Fuel load is down to 1/4 fuel. Oh boy, it's gonna cut this a little bit close. Okay, let's go and exit, head on over to the map. Okay, 100 meters per second. MECO, main engine cut off, and then we're going to do this with just 10% throttle here, and do this very carefully. Alright, good deal. Alright, so we have a moon intercept here. Next step, we're going to go ahead, we're going to go ahead and decrease our thrust limiter. We're going to drop that down to about 8%. That way we can do some fine tuning here. A little engine that could. Yes, sir! And considering that we're playing with mostly stock parts, Poodle engine is, aside from the atomic engine, is perhaps the most fuel-efficient engine that we've got here. So definitely something that we're using quite a bit in this little series. Okay, here we go. So we're going to burn just a little bit here at 1% of 4% of thrust. Okay. Increase throttle just a little bit more. Okay, here we go. 5,000 kilometers, 4,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers. Remember, our moon space station is at 100 kilometers in its orbit, so we got to get fairly close to this puppy here. Okay, 135 kilometers will work. F5 for safety. And then, let's zoom back to our station. There we go. Okay, so we're back to our HAB module here. And let's go ahead and speed up time. Goodbye, Earth. Off to the moon we go. Hopefully we got enough Delta V left to complete the circularization burn. Or moon insertion burn. We wouldn't even have to do a moon circularization burn. We could do that with our RCS pretty easily if need be. Okay, oh, and before I forget, we'll have to open up our communication system. Where did you go? Okay, so there it is. It's in our transfer stage. Extend. There we go. Okay, here we go. Speeding up time. 3 days. So it takes about 4 days to transition to the moon, apparently, in this one. Okay, almost there. Okay, 10 hours till moon encounter. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Okay, so we got a moon encounter. F5 for safety, and we're gonna go ahead and change our target for rendezvous. And our target for rendezvous is, well, first off, we're going to reload so we can get rid of some of this memory leakage here and help with the frame rates a little bit. There we go. Looks like the Hubble Space Telescope. You know, I haven't thought about that. It certainly does, though. Okay, here we go. So we got rid of that pesky memory leakage here, and we managed to fix the frame rate issue. Okay, next up, let's go and get a little bit closer to the moon before we start doing some changes. There we go. Okay. So there's our space station. Let's go ahead and set that as the target. Relative inclination is at 0.7 degrees. That's definitely something we're going to have to fix. Okay, here we go. So, let's head on over towards our periaps. See, where's that pesky moon? There it is. Beautiful. Looks like we're going to be coming around the night side of the moon for our orbital insertion burn. Here we go. Coming up to it. All right. 1 minute to periaps. So let's go ahead and switch over to prograde. Beginning orbital insertion burn in 3, 2, 1, mark. And then we're going to increase the limiter to 100%. Oh, does it now? I guess so it really does look like the Hubble Space Telescope then. That one I hadn't considered before. All right, here we go. And beautiful. We are now in moon orbit. Fairly eccentric orbit, though. Okay, and then apoapsis is at 2,000 kilometers, 1,500 kilometers. Okay, looks like we are just 430 kilometers from the station. And looks like we may be able to pull this off with the amount of fuel that we have. Not too shabby. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to dip our orbit below 100 kilometers, which is the orbit of the Moon space station. That way, we can do a phase transition to the station here, so we don't have to worry too much about maneuver nodes. Okay, here we go. So we got our periaps at 92 kilometers. We're going to head on over to the ascending node here, and we're going to turn ourselves to anti-normal, and then we're going to do a planar correction burn here. Right now we're at 0.7 degrees. We're going to get that as close to 0 as we can. Here we go. Burning in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Look at that relative inclination decrease. Okay, and next up, we're going to go ahead and drop our thrust limiter. Bring it down to about 10 degrees. 9.5, 10 degrees. There we go. And then we're going to burn again. That way we don't end up overcorrecting on our burn. There we go. And our relative inclination is now at 3,000th of a degree with respect to the Moon space station. So looks like we're doing pretty good. So next up on the table is we're going to go ahead and get this periaps and apoapsis as equal as we can to circularize this. Right now, we are now below the orbit of the Moon space station, so we should be catching up to it. And here we are. We are at periaps, going to retrograde. Okay, burning in 3, 2, 1, mark. There we go. Okay, so we are at 150 kilometers. Looking beautiful. All right. And perfecto. Okay. So our apoapsis is at 93 kilometers. Our periapsis is at 92 kilometers. Relative inclination is at 3,000th of a degree to the Moon space station, which means that we are perpetually catching up to the Moon space station. So if we speed up time, look at that. Beautiful. And if we go towards, let's see here. Let's take a look at our target. Right now we are approaching our target at 328 meters per second. Where did our target go? I think it's just below the horizon, actually. Oh, okay. Well, good deal. Alright, let's see here. About what point would we be able to see the craft at the horizon? Well, hi there, Dark Panzer. Yep, we are back on the Moon, and we are looking to attach a habitation module to our Moon space station. Okay, so 340 kilometers. We should be able to see a space station over the horizon now. According to this, it says the Moon space station is just below the horizon. let's see here. So, ooh. Okay, so I noticed that at least in realism, in a real solar system, on the day side of the moon, the surface of the moon tends to get so bright it tends to wreak havoc on the computer. So we get a slight dip in the frames per second here. Hey, all right. Well, good night to you, Dark Panzer. Okay, so we should see the space station coming over the horizon a little bit here. Which is strange, because from this angle, should be able to see the station just fine. Okay, let's see here. Speeding up time. And 250 kilometers. 240 kilometers. 200 kilometers. Okay, we should be able to see the station just fine now. Nope, they're just barely peeking over the horizon. Interesting. Okay, so speeding up again. Okay, and we are at 100 kilometers. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a phase transition burn, and we're going to increase our periaps and apoaps just ever so slightly. Okay, here we go. Beginning burn in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and increase our apoaps to, we'll go for about 98 kilometers. Right about here. There we go. Nice and easy. There, perfect. That way we drift a little bit more smoothly towards the station. Okay, and then we're going to head on over to the apoaps, and then we're going to begin our circularization burn there. Do another burn to increase our periaps to also 98 kilometers. 96, 97, 98. Okay, good deal. So now we should be drifting a little more leisurely towards the space station, which is at 77 kilometers. Oh, there it is. Look at that guy. Okay, so we are on approach to the station. 70 kilometers, 71. And as I've noted earlier on a previous episode, notice how this space station ahead of us is wobbling right, and then it's going to wobble left. Part of the reason it does that is because a relative inclination is not absolute zero. Because a relative inclination is off by 3,000th of a degree, you see that inconsistency with which the space station orbits with respect to me. So 3,000th of a degree makes a huge difference, especially at a distance. As you can see here with this giant wobble with that space station. Okay, 49 kilometers, 48. Okay, we are fast approaching. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and do another phase transition burn. And we're going to increase our apoaps to, let's shoot for 100 kilometers even. There we go. 100 kilometers on the apoapsis. That way, when we approach the space station, we should be at about half a kilometer from the station. We can RCS the rest of the way. Let's see here. Okay, so we are at the apoapsis, and let's go ahead and begin another burn. And we're going to go and lift our periapsis to 100 kilometers. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so we are now even at 100 kilometers on both sides. F5 for safety. And then let's just go ahead and leisurely drift towards our space station. Ooh. That wobble is always pretty funny to see. Alright, so we are at 25 kilometers. Coming up on them. 22 kilometers. According to this time scale here, it's been almost a week since we launched here. So this is quite an intercept here. And with that said, it's been about 2 weeks since our Kerbals launched to go to the moon. That means they have been stuck inside that tiny capsule for 2 weeks. Definitely wouldn't want to be them right now. Good news is we're about to give them some wiggle room here in a little bit. Alright, 10 kilometers left to go. 8 kilometers. 7 kilometers. 5 kilometers. Counting down here, 3 kilometers. We're at 2 kilometers from the station, and it has rendered in. So now we can see the station. Kerbals are dead by now. Well, no such luck for them. They're still very much alive, as they have enough life support to last them an entire year inside that tiny capsule, unfortunately. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch our telemetry data to target. Let me see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some more time warping. Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. Coming up on the space station. And then we're going to go ahead and switch to target mode. Okay, so we're approaching the station at almost half a meter per second. So we're going to activate RCS here. And then we're going to RCS our way to the station. There we go. Actually, we're going to go ahead and activate our engine. And we're going to approach at the crazy fast speed of 3 meters per second. Is this stock other than the solar system? Well, I originally played the game with stock. Unfortunately, the real solar system is not very kind to just stock parts. So we're doing some minimal part modding here. So we have Stockalike space station parts along with the Wild Blue Pathfinder mod, which we haven't used yet. But the Wild Blue Pathfinder mod is pretty awesome, and that allows us to build moon bases with a minimal number of parts. So we'll probably end up using that at some point, but we decide to land on the moon below us here at some point there. Okay, here we go. And we are approaching at 3 meters per second. And let's take a look at the space station here. Make sure that we're approaching at just the right angle. Okay, so let's go ahead and shoot for one of these major docking ports. What we're going to do is we're going to head back. And then we're going to actually stop our movement. So RCS back. And we're going to drop our speed down to about 0.1 of a meter per second. And then what we're going to do is going to reorient the space station to make it more conducive to docking. Perfect. Okay, so F5 for safety. And then let's go ahead and switch on over towards the moon space station. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, so we'll use this docking. Actually, let's go ahead and use this docking port here. So control from here, and we're going to reorient the space station to normal. This may not have been a good idea to normal. Let's do this to anti-normal. That way, this part of the space station, this specific docking port is the one that's going to keep a pretty consistent facing direction. And it's going to maintain a pretty consistent angle of attack. to make it easier for this guy to dock to this docking port. Let's see here. There we go. Nice and easy on the turn. Perfect. Yeah, when we're docking, we don't want the docking port to be spinning around like crazy. We want to keep it as center line as possible. Okay, there we go. Good deal. So now what'll happen is this docking port is going to remain center and it's going to allow us to more easily dock so we don't have to fiddle around too much with the RCS. All right, coming back. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to collect control from here. Let's see here if I remember correctly. Coming up on the left side, right side, something like that. Okay, and then RCS up. And then we are going to move at a liberal speed of 0.5 meter per second on approach to the space station. Perfect. Okay, here we go, and speeding up time. And then there's the docking port. Beautiful. Okay, I bet you those Kerbals are pretty happy about now. Alright, and then let's go ahead and turn our vehicle to the target. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so we got ourselves turned up pretty good. Let's go ahead and switch over to orbital view here. So we get a little better perspective on this docking. And then we're going to turn our docking mod here, which is going to help us get some telemetry data on this dock. Okay, here we go. Let's go and turn ourselves. Okay, we are looking a little bit weird here. Let's see here. Now, where's our... Oh, we are on the wrong side of the spacecraft. That's okay, though. Let's go ahead and switch over here. Control from here. Yeah, we're on the wrong side here. Well, that is no bueno. Hold on. Let me see here. Control here. Yep. Okay. Actually, we'll go ahead and see if we can dock here. And then... No, actually, I think we're on the right side. We are... Gosh, I wish there was an easier way to mark this here. Okay, so we're going to turn... our station just a little bit. Okay, so hard to turn this puppy with all that weight. Okay. All right, so come on, target that puppy for me. Come on. Okay. We're going to have to get a little bit closer because unfortunately my mouse clicks aren't registering as good as I want them to. We are a little bit too far away from them right now, so we're just going to RCS forward here. Okay, here we go. And we're going to move at a liberal speed of 0.4 meters per second. And then we're going to speed up time. There we go. Okay, so we are much closer now. This should give me... Come on, I just want to click you. Click that docking port. Almost there. Come on. You got it. Ugh. Okay. There we go. And set as target. Booyah! Okay. Now we can use our telemetry data here on our docking telemetry indicator here to help us with our docking. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna first align ourselves so that we are perpendicular. Okay, almost there. Okay, so now we are aligned, almost aligned. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we are aligned horizontally. Now we need to align vertically. Come on, you got this. We're trying to get this target node up properly to line up. It's just that considering the weight of this craft here, the reaction wheels are a little bit squirrely. Okay. Oh, come on, you got this. Perfect. Okay. To line up. Let's turn ourselves here. And we are going to turn this station module to... Do we want to do that? No. Let's turn this to, I think, yeah, 180 degrees should be fine where we originally had this. So we're going to spin this to 180 degrees. Actually, we should be able to do this to 0 degrees. Okay, here we go. Time to play around with a little bit of OCD here and see if we can get this close to 0 degrees as possible on the dock. Well, howdy, Sasha Terry. How's that copy of Kerbal Space Program working out for you? Okay, so we are we are wobbling around the 0 degree mark. Come on. I know you got this. Come on. Yeesh. Okay, so close. Okay, so we're wobbling around the 0 degree mark. Gosh, we're so close to 0 degrees. Okay. Maybe I should just call this a win here, because I'm trying to get this rotation as close to 0 degrees as I can get it, because this is going to be a permanent attachment to the station. Okay, almost there. And while I've been fiddling around with that, we've been drifting improperly away from the station. Let's go ahead and fix that. So let's go ahead and RCS on that drift. Oh, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying the game. As you can see, it takes a little bit of a learning curve to figure it out, but once you get it, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so we are off on this rotation by a full degree. So we're gonna, hopefully I can get this fixed here. Almost there. Come on. There we go. And SAS is on, and our rotation is almost 0 degrees. That's close enough, though. As long as we can keep it under 1 degree on the rotation, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, there we go. And wouldn't you know it, we are over 1 degree. Why is this? Oh, wait, I know why. Okay. I know why this rotation is being silly. Ah, gosh. That's okay, though. That's because this space station is spinning a little bit too quickly for my tastes. That's all right, though. We'll just have to dock this as is. All right. Here we go. And then almost there. Okay. Gosh, this wobble is driving me crazy. It just, this wobble, this rotation wobble is just all over the place. And I keep tapping the SAS to keep realigning it. This game is a real test of patience. Okay, so we are now approaching the station at 1/100th of a meter per second. We're gonna play around with the RCS here, and we'll go ahead and approach. We'll just go ahead and dock this as is. Okay, good deal. Coming up nice and easy to the station. Ooh. Okay, everything is just about lined up. Just this whole rotation issue. It's driving me bananas. Okay. And we're almost at 360 degrees again. Okay, almost there. And then while we are doing that, we're gonna head on over to the station itself. And then, because we are this awesome, we're gonna go ahead and have Bill come on out here, and he's going to inspect the docking. Come on, Bill. Our resident space engineer. And he's gonna chill outside while he inspects the docking of the two modules here. Lights on. What do you think, Bill? Apparently he's loving this moment. Okay. And then let's go and switch on over to our docking module. Alright, so we are veering off ever so slightly. We're going to increase speed at 1/10 of a meter per second. Turning on fine-tune mode, because I think that's what's causing this weird veer. Okay, where did Bill go? There you are, Bill. Keep watch for me, buddy. And then... almost there. 359 degrees. Come on. 359.5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 360 degrees. I'm going to turn on SAS at that. And then we're going to RCS. Ever so carefully to realign this here. Okay, so alignment is good. Bill's giving us a thumbs up here on the dock. Okay, magnetic should be taking over in a little bit here. Okay. And let's fix the fine tune on the RCS. There we go. What do you think, Bill? Oh, looks like we're coming in nice and easy. Oh, magnetic should be coming in just a little bit. Perfect. Look at that. We got a nice, beautiful dock. Excellent job supervising there, Bill. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and F5 for safety. And then, while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and have Bill do last-minute inspections before we remove this transition module here. I wonder if it took NASA longer than this to dock. You're being super careful. I would have smashed into the station by now. Absolutely. When it comes to docking, I love to savor the moment. It's one of my favorite parts of the game, and I like to get it as close to precise as possible. That's where a lot of the OCD fun kicks in. Remember, we're measuring a docking speed at meters per second. NASA, they measure their docking speed at centimeters per second, so they move fairly slow. Okay, so next up, what we're going to do is we're going to have Bill, and he is going to decouple this module from the station. Here we go, Bill. And then coming in nice and easy. Okay, so apparently he can't activate the decoupler, but we could do this. Decouple node and release. Good job, Bill. All right, and then he's going to inspect the transition module. We're going to have this puppy RCS away. Here we go. And transition module is RCSing away. You have... Well, thank you. I appreciate you praising my patience there. Let's see here. In this game, you start to learn pretty quickly that Kerbal Space Program isn't necessarily about end goals. Rather, the game is all about the journey, and the manner with which used to achieve those goals is where the real fun in this game lies. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and have Bill. He's going to unfurl our primary solar panels. And here we go. Extend solar panel. And now we have some proper solar panels here for the station. Thank goodness. Okay, and then we're going to unfurl the second set of panels. There we go. Panels unfurled. Then next up... Nope, he doesn't have his... electric drill. Let's go ahead. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the temporary solar panels. Now we don't need these solar panels anymore, so we're going to stow those away in the compartment. So let's head on over here. Nice and steady. Go ahead and grab that ladder there, buddy. There we go. Okay, and we're going to open up the inventory. Open up this inventory, and we're going to take one of those drills. And we're going to equip this puppy. And what we're going to do is grab that. Well, first off, before you grab it, let's go ahead and retract that solar panel. These were temporary solar panels that we brought with the space station. And these were only meant to stick around to generate power until we had proper solar panels for the station. And now that we do, we really don't need them anymore. So we're just going to stow them away for safekeeping should we encounter a situation where we would need them again. So let's go and grab them and throw that in. There we go. And then next up, we're going to go around. Alright, and we're going to go around the other side. And we're going to grab the other solar panel. Alright, come on, buddy. You got this. Alright, and then grabbing the ladder. And we're going to open up the inventory again. And then we're going to retract this solar panel. Okay, here we go. The solar panel is retracted. And we're going to go and grab this guy, and we're going to stow this away. Perfect. Okay. Oh, let's go and put this drill back as well. Okay, and unequip. There we go. Perfect. Nice job, Bill. Excellent job. Let's go back in. As a matter of fact, you get to go back. You get to go into the habitation module, and you get to run your own inspection of said module. Make sure everything is working just fine. Grab. And then into the module we go. Excellent work, sir. It looks like the space station is turning out quite well. In the meantime, let's go ahead and deorbit this puppy. So let's go ahead and retrograde. Turning retrograde on the orbit. And then we burn away. Max thrust. And F5 for safety again. And then we get to watch this puppy fall into the moon. Well, thank you, transition module. Unfortunately, we don't need you anymore, and so we'll just watch this puppy impact the moon here. And in actuality, we could probably land this guy too. Let's see here. Well, actually, no, since our surface speed is way too high. Still, though, let's see how much surface speed we can shave off with the amount of fuel that we have left. Not too bad. Horizontal speed is at 600 meters per second, 500 meters per second. Okay. Close. We're almost there. All right. And down into the surface you go. And well, bam. Back to our space station. Okay, so we have to go to the tracking station. Okay, good deal. And how is our space station looking now? Okay, with all that space junk and everything away, looks pretty beautiful here. Nice. Proper set of solar panels, and then Bill inside, checking out his new digs. Let's go and take a look at our life support situation now. Look at that. We now have enough life support to last for 3 years and some change. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Okay, so now we've got our habitation module expanded on this station. I think at some point we'll go ahead and we'll do our first landing on the moon, probably next episode or some future episode that we plan to do fairly soon here, because I think we have the resources now to send a lander here. All right, well, other than that, I'd like to thank you all for coming to today's live stream. Have a great, wonderful day or wonderful evening, and I will see you all next time.